Star Wars The Mandalorian Adventures. They were demoing this game at Gen Con 2024, and I decided to stop by the table with my kids and give this game a try. As chance would have it, the two people demoing it were the designers, who then kindly also signed my copy that I bought after playing the game. And so that's how I ended up. I tried the game, it looked pretty cool and fun, and I got my copy. This is a game that depicts some fundamentals, some famous episode situations from the TV show The Mandalorian. I enjoyed the TV show a great deal, but I'm not like a rabid fan. So actually, as I played the game, to me, the gameplay was the most important thing. I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm finally there. I wanted to experience this situation through a game. But again, so I'm going to review it mainly as a game. However, the game also makes a big deal about the narrative and about the spoilers and about the progression and the plot twists, which is a bit surprising because I expect that most people who will be interested in this game do so because of the TV show. But because this is the philosophy behind the package, I'm going to respect that and I'm going to avoid spoilers. By which I mean I'm only going to show you the first map, the first mission. I'm not going to tell you about some of the components that you will unlock. There was a deck of cards behind here, and that's the card that you find on top. Says don't look at it. Well, this is the bottom. So the other side tells you don't go through it. But it also says at the end of your first game, win or lose, remove this card and go through it. So basically, the cards behind this deck will be added to various decks in the game. And I set up things in a way that you're not going to see the cards that I unlocked as I play multiple missions. So you have 4 kind of standard missions, and then you have other 2 styles of mission, 2 modes of gameplay that are described in these envelopes, and the main scenarios will tell you when it is time to open the envelopes. As chance would have it, I looked at them, and they introduced modes of play that I personally do not enjoy, so I didn't feel compelled to try them. But again, I cannot tell you any more detail because that would betray the intention of the designers. Okay, so we have our book. We start with the first mission. Oh, I should probably mention that the game is cooperative. Everybody plays against the game system. And you can play it solo. So I played it with family members. I also played the entire campaign solo. There is a mode that they recommend in which you take the characters' deck. So 2 characters, you shuffle them together and you play with a shared deck. I didn't. I simply play regular 2-handed with 2 characters and taking turns as normal. So your characters will be, their presence, their position will be indicated on the map by these cardboard standees. You will have indications of what you're trying to achieve, victory condition, failure condition indicated there. You will have tokens placed on the map, unique to each mission, again, depending on the mode of play. And some of these tokens will represent enemies that will be encountered as you go. And these enemies, or other things that you may be able to find. These enemies have a number of life points that indicates how much damage they must take before they're removed from the board, and also an icon that indicates the kind of weapons that they have, and that also will be targeted and activated by certain effects. You have a card representing your character, and all it does is a reminder of how many life points you have, 8 or 6, depending on the level you want to play. And I didn't find the game particularly challenging. I beat the entire campaign at the regular level. There's a harder level too, but that seemed to be about right. And then again, action cards. Each action card has a number here indicating its strength, but don't think of it as like brute strength. Think of it as the effectiveness. Because that number, and I love the economy and simplicity, means different things depending on the action for which you play. Some cards also have icons that mean they will be worth an extra point if they're played for a certain action. This one has an effectiveness of 3 if played for attack or intel, but it counts as an extra 1 value 4 if I played to plan, because it matches the icon there. Same here for attack, and some cards also have other specific effects that activate if you play them in the corresponding slot, attack, for example, but otherwise they always have the effectiveness value there. You will have a hand of 4 cards, or 3 if you decide to play in hard mode. And very simple, during your turn you will take 2 actions. You must take 2 actions, which means you must play 2 cards, and they have to be different from one another. So these are the actions available in this scenario. That means you're gonna play cards, 2 cards to 2 of these slots. Great flexibility, because you can choose the order in which you play them, where these cards go, and pretty much you do what it says. Moving, if you play a card there, you move up to the value of the card, the number of spaces. Oh, I played a 2 there, so I go 1, 2. If I move into a space with a unrevealed token, I reveal it. I also need to move there. Sorry, I need to stop moving when I get there. And then suppose that I attack. When I attack, it's pretty simple. I deal that amount of damage indicated by the card to a threat within range 1, so be adjacent or the same space. Pew pew. By doing those 2 actions, I move there, reveal this person, and remove the threat from the board with the attack of 2. Maybe another turn, I will do the intel action, and so now I secretly look at a face-down threat within range of the value, so range 2 in this case. Ooh, okay, pretty neat. Or, ooh, that's a threat. Or I choose an enemy, that means an enemy that was already revealed, and I move that enemy 1 space. Maybe I move him away, I move them away. Maybe I move them closer because I want to start some stuff. Planning. If you play a card there, you draw a number of planning cards equal to the effectiveness indicated there. Planning cards come from this deck. There are some really good effects. There are also some not so good effects that are worth nothing. So if you play a single one there, maybe you draw the bad luck and you wasted your turn. But I played a 4 there, so I'm gonna draw 4 cards, and after I draw and look at these 4 cards, I may keep 1 and I place it on my character card. I may also place 1 on top of the planning card stack, and I discard the other, and that's for the planning card. This is basically the idea. Again, there may be, who knows, other scenarios in which you have other actions, but ultimately you're playing 2 actions, moving around. The rulebook says don't be tempted to just move and attack, but moving and attack is going to be a pretty much frequent action with these other supporting actions when you need them to refine things. Now, after you take your turn, you check each slot to see how much value has been added to each. This is not a game where you do something and then automatically the game afterwards tries to do something bad at you. There is a certain variable, flexible pace. So if the value that we have placed in a certain slot is exactly 5, then we are gonna have a negative effect, and that will come out of this event deck. Let me check that. The cards I'm going to show you. Again, they were in the basic set. I recognize it because I have a number here. So, oh, there's a 5 there. So I'm going to flip this event card, resolve what it does. How about this one? Yeah, these are all good. And so these are some of the events. That will mean 2 enemies with that symbol will move by 1 toward the closest enemy. That would be my characters. And 2 enemies with that symbol, pew, pew, shoot at range 2. When they hit me, they inflict 1 point of damage. That would be how the events work, and if I hit exactly 5. If it's more than 5, so 6 or more, there's going to be a crisis, which is a further negative effects that happens at the changes with the scenario. So since negative events are unavoidable, you're going to try to hit 5 as much as possible. And this other slot here had 6. And again, so that means we're going to resolve a crisis first and then an event. After an event and or a crisis are resolved, you remove all the cards there and you return them to the player or players who put them there. So that's how you resolve the bad stuff that the game is trying to do to you. You win the game if you complete the objectives. In this case, for example, you need to rescue the asset, and you know that the asset is one of these 2 tokens. You also know that you need to find the code to open that door. So you're going to go around, mow down some enemies, look for tokens that let you open the door, and then find the asset, and that's how you would win. You fail if a character is defeated, so even a single death among your teammates ends the game in failure. There may be also other failure conditions depending on the scenario. Oh, one last thing, there are also game effects that will place disruption tokens on the action slots, and they also count for the total when you are checking for events and crises. For example, that cause a 5, therefore causes an event, and after that I remove both the cards and the disruption token. And this, in essence, is how you play Star Wars The Mandalorian Adventures. I think this game is really enjoyable. It is a simple, light, cooperative game. I like the fact that I can play it solo, which I did, but also I can play it with my family. I could even play with my wife, who's not a hardcore gamer, and I think she would have no problem. I think it makes for a really good gateway cooperative game, maybe for your friends who do not regularly play board games or strategy board games, I should say, hobby board games, I should say, and the fact that so many people like The Mandalorian can be a nice real hook there for you to convince them to play something. Maybe Pandemic feels like, ooh, no, that's too soon. And the topic may not be one that is universally loved, but everybody loves Baby Yoda, so there's that little emotional hook there. So as an intro, as a gateway to cooperative gaming, really nice. It is nicely produced. There definitely is there is an eye to sustainability. So, for example, the plastic insert seems to be like a cardboard or really pressed, hardly pressed paper. The decks had paper bands around them, not plastic. It looked like they limited the plastic as much as they could. Pretty much only the standees have their little base made of plastic. And I wonder if in the future we could replace that also with something that is more renewable. So, a lot of things to like. And the flow of the game, again, it's mainly move and attack and move from time to time. Oh well, you move and attack because you have more health. I stay behind in a plan a little bit so that I get a defend card so that I don't die quite as easily, and so I don't drag down the whole team and we lose the game. It's still gonna be mainly move and attack with some plot twists there. The missions, some of them are different from one another. Some of the 4 main missions, some have some commonalities. I didn't feel that they were super different. So I don't think that the replay value is going to be huge. When I look at the other missions, again, they have game mechanics. It just so happens that there are some that I don't particularly enjoy, but I'm not going to tell you what those are because this is in the spirit of the game. What you can already tell, of course, is that they're still going to be based on those 4 maps because that's what the game has. I guess you can have a recharge pack just with a new booklet with new maps and different missions based on those. You can use the same tokens as long as there is different things. And I think really new maps would rejuvenate the game or keep it young more than new missions on those same maps. Because to me, again, when it comes to a game, geography is destiny. That dictates the action in such ways that especially the third map, I can't imagine that you're going to be able to have hugely different stories on that map when the structure is that one. So, simple, light, fun, family-oriented, fan-oriented, but not with a huge replay value, I believe. So I enjoyed it. I'm happy that I got it because, again, from time to time, a game with this specific profile to introduce somebody who has never heard of a cooperative game, this could be a good way. For me, after playing all the main missions, I don't know that, it's one that I would just say, okay, today I'm going to play the Mandalorian Adventures. But maybe I will. I don't know. Anyways, this is my assessment of Star Wars The Mandalorian Adventures.